evening, sir. It is evening here. How's it going?
It's going okay. It's hitting some warm weather now, almost like tropical.
It's dumb hot. I like cold temperatures. If I could live in a spot that would fluctuate from about 11 degrees up to 18 degrees Celsius, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, that butter zone about 15, is good.
I love that. That's my zone. And really, if I have to choose to go above my peak, my ideal temperature, or below, I
Always
will take
below.
minus 30 above plus 30 any day.
Oh yeah, you can always put more clothes on. If you take clothes off, people start looking at you funny, man.
And there's only so many clothes you can take off.
And blacksmith too. That's the one. Both of our sports are cold weather. Anyway, welcome everybody to the Brothers in Smithing podcast. We are two Smiths who get together and chat about stuff. My name is Andrew. I'm stuff.
Maybe smithing.
Stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah. So my name's Andrew. I'm a blacksmith. And I really like to wear safety glasses. I'm one of the people that there's blacksmiths out there who will take them off at every moment that they possibly can. They look like they're reading glasses. They'll talk to you with them in their hand, and they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to beat on metal now," and they'll put them back on, and then they'll take them back off and complain about them and everything. I actually like wearing safety glasses, and I thought about just getting a pair of glasses that are safety glasses just to wear them. Yeah.
That's what it made. It sounded like I just walked down the street, wearing my safety glasses. Maybe a mosquito might fly in my eyeball and it's all protected. Tink, tink.
No, walking through the woods, I will wear safety glasses just so you don't get a stick in the eye. I love it.
I wear regular glasses. I don't generally have that issue.
Exactly.
But, good to know. Although my first image was the science lab safety goggles. I don't know why, but that's what I was picturing. I know I have seen your safety goggles. They are, sleek and cool. So my name's Kipling. I'm the tinsmith of our brothers. Sorry, I'm still laughing at the safety glasses. I don't love wearing safety glasses. I wear regular glasses most of the time, but I will flip for safety reasons. Sorry.
You wanted me to include a little tidbit.
Nugget. It was a good nugget. I wasn't expecting said nugget, so I'm sorry. And now I'm like, what was my nugget? I think I have laughed my nugget out of my brain. I don't know what my nugget is. So kudos to you. Maybe later on the nugget will pop in and I'll throw it. But I got nothing right now. It's all gone.
You can share with us then.
Yes. And I'm enjoying tonight a blood orange G&T. And that's what I'm imbibing during this wonderful conversation we're having.
Just having a little Jameson on ice myself, a little Irish whiskey.
Time to switch to whiskey. We've been drinking beer all night.
Yep. So what we do at this Brothers and Smithing podcast is, years ago, we both made something of the same, and we are arguing about which one was better. We thought we'd put it out to the general public on our Instagram accounts when we had 4 followers, which included our wives and our parents. And then
I still have 4 followers.
Yeah, you have 43, But anyway, we've been doing it for over 3 years now, and we argue about it all the time, or debate it all the time over the phone. So we thought we'd record our conversations because we get great enjoyment from it, and hope you do too. So our last challenge was we were late on recording the podcast. So you already know that I whooped Kipling's butt with the fairy doors.
Terribly. I was so disappointed. It was, again, for those who missed it, it was on fairy doors. And I was so in love with my fairy door. And I just got, it wasn't the worst crushing that I've had, but it was definitely one-sided.
And have you sold yours now? They're at a new home, or?
Well, funny you should ask that. So as we talked last time, ended up making 5. The goal was to make 4. One of each of the classic elements: air, earth, fire, water, and then I ended up making 2 waters because I had 2 ideas for the water door. I only have 1 left. I've
Oh,
sold 4.
wow.
I have the first one I made, the fire door, which I will I will argue that the hinge is my least favorite on that door because I was still figuring out the hinges. That's the one I have. Other than the hinge, I love the door. But yeah, I only have 1 left. So
There you go.
la di da. So it's okay. I lost the bragging rights, but I made money, so I'm okay.
And how are you intend on making it back on our next one here?
Oh, I don't know. All right, so the next one we did talk about what it was. We were doing we did, I should say, because it is finished. The songbird themed bookend, and I gotta say, I was uninspired. I was like, when we suggested, okay, we're gonna do songbird. I'm like, okay, that's cool, great. And then we threw it back and forth, and we settled on bookend, which is a good idea. It's a good thing to make. But it did not excite me. I didn't like, oh, I'm going to do this right off the bat. So yes, I was not that excited. I don't know. What were you feeling going into it?
I was pretty confident with whether I was going to use something heavy, but like forged pieces and scrolls and, a bird. And I tried to challenge myself a bit and get a bird to float. So I was like, how do I get a bird floating in with all this heavy stuff? So yeah, I had a bunch of ideas, and I was pretty jazzed about it. Am pretty jazzed about it. So kind of the opposite of you.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, my first problem was, okay, I work in light material, and books, a lot of books can be heavy. How do I get enough weight? And then I was doing some research on bookends, and I found some images of bookends that were bent the opposite way. So you know how like a bookend generally it looks like an L, and the L is facing away from the book. So like the pressure of the books is held up by that L shape. Well, there is a set of bookends that I saw that the L was reversed. So the bottom part of the L was underneath the book. So the books are actually doing a lot of the weight holding, and
Right.
that works better with my material. So once I saw that, I'm like, okay, I can do that, and then I'll put my songbird on the outside of it.
Nice.
What do I do? And again, we did expand it beyond songbirds, as long as it wasn't as long as it's what most people think of as a songbird. So because I think we both chose things that weren't technically songbirds.
Yeah.
Mine's a woodpecker. So I'm like, okay, so we'll put a woodpecker, sort of a little bit of sort of pileated style woodpecker with like that kind of pointed back to the head, but otherwise kind of body shape esque around a downy-ish, downy or hairy woodpecker. And then I did some hollow cutouts on it, and then I did a little bit of light texturing to it, which actually was a complete fluke. So here I am. I'm like, okay, I want to put some just hammer texture in it, but I don't want the texture of the metal that was underneath the hammering. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll put just a piece of cloth so I don't get those weird marks. Well, guess what I got in the bottom side of the woodpecker?
The weaving pattern of the cloth.
The weaving pattern, and it looked really cool because it wasn't going straight through. It just had these little patches on it. It was really cool. So I'm like, okay, so we'll do this, and I kept, going back and forth, and I got some really nice texture on it, and then I did the actual L frame out of brass, and again textured it nicely. It was looking awesome. I loved it. I was like, I got super excited. I'm like, this is so kick butt, like awesome. And then I had to connect the two together.
I was going to ask how you did that.
Let's just say my day went pretty bad for that. So I decided, we're going to try brazing because I've got a neighbor who brazes with an oxypropane torch, but you can actually braze with as long as it's light stuff, you can braze with a less robust setup. I was just using a propane tank, and I was trying to do stuff. It was a bad idea. Didn't work, and then I ended up having to try to soldering it on, and I got that working. But of course, this too much solder, and the solder's silver contrasting. So I had to get a sanding in there to get the solder down. Of course, now I'm losing all the texture I had, and then a piece of it broke. I had to fix that. Oh, it was, and so the texturing all disappeared, and I couldn't get it back to the same level. I was really not happy and almost junked the whole thing. Ooh. I got it together. I'm not unhappy with it. I got a nice patina on it on both the brass and the woodpecker. So I'm kind of meh on the whole thing now. I like it, but I lost that big excitement I got in the middle.
Fair enough. So you're happy with it, though?
I'm happy with it, but, it was a come down from that, like, oh, man. So there you go. You can see it on the screen there. They can't see it, I know. But, yeah. So, and again, it's really hard. And one of the things I've discovered, especially with the competition on Instagram, getting a photo that shows the patina coloring nicely is hard to get. And you can't see it. But as no one knows this yet, but in the next couple of days, I'm coming up to visit you, to doing some stuff up there, and so we're going to have the pieces together to take photos, and so you'll get to see the cool patining on it there. But yeah, so that's my love-hate story with the Songbird Bookend. You?
Yeah. Well, I said I kind of wanted a bird floating in midair, and the first bird that popped in my head was a hummingbird. They kind of purposely float in midair. Although I could have done a goldfinch on a thistle. That was one of my ideas, or whatever. And I did contemplate doing other birds, but the hummingbird just kind of stuck with me, and having a little hummingbird kind of floating in midair was where my brain was going. So I forged out a bottom scroll piece. It's quite heavy. It's like almost 3/8 material, and it's like 4 inches thick. So it's got some like beef to it. Forged these big scrolls.
So you're holding up textbooks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I the whole thing's probably like 4 pounds. And a leaf behind it is the back L. And then I commonly cut washers into segments, and then hammer out flower texture on them and weld those onto little brackets as flowers. So that was what I did with this. And I originally wanted to enamel the flowers, but I went a little overboard on the flowers, and there's too many flowers for me to get in there and enamel them all.
Oh.
So I went with a classic brass brush on the flowers, which means that if you heat up the metal and you take a pure brass brush and brush it on, you get this kind of gold color to it. Yeah. And welded this forged out hummingbird. I was pretty happy with the shape of my hummingbird and everything on that. So it is totally what I wanted it to be. It's a heavy bookend with a hummingbird floating in the middle of it. So
because I can see this because we're doing this over video. What is the height from the base to the tip of the hummingbird wings? It looks pretty high.
Did we have a limit?
No, I'm just curious.
Oh, okay. It is about 10.5 inches or 27 centimeters.
Wow.
Approximately.
That's a big bookend.
So you could hold up a binder. Like I was thinking like binder books. Like you could actually get textbooks or binder books on this and whatever. It's kind of what I was thinking.
It's not going anywhere. Dwarf mine. I think mine is somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 inches.
Do you know what I was surprised at though? When this moves, you can kind of see it here. The hummingbird. Here, if I put it down, you can see the hummingbird kind of bounces a little bit. The flower is. It's weird that because I think there's so much weight in the base that the flower and the hummingbird kind of bounce a little bit. But I think it adds a cool little thing to it.
It has a little bit of dynamic stuff to it. So it looks great. Mine's more classic, more minimalist.
Yep.
So yeah, it will be interesting to see how that goes. So what, like, was there a new technique that you were doing with this one, or is there something that you were specifically trying out?
I really wanted to go back to that enamel technique with the flowers. I ran out of time and it wasn't going to happen. So I would like to get back to the enamel technique. I did forge out 2 hummingbirds, and I've never forged that shape out. So taking a round bar and isolating the material to draw out the tail and draw out the beak and everything, and how much material I needed for that did take me some learnings to do. And going from a 3/4 inch round steel bar to the width of a hummingbird beak out on the front was, it was some forging.
That's some taper in there. So yeah, oh good. Yeah, for me it was the brazing. Because as I said, I spent the day before doing some brazing with my neighbor and did some really neat brazing stuff. And then it didn't work out for what I wanted to do. And I'm not surprised. It probably wasn't the best way to start brazing. I was also using brass brazing rods. There are copper brazing rods that will braze at a lower temperature, which I should try. I was just, borrowing stuff off of him. So yes, my new technique also failed. So this is the week of failed new technique. Either didn't get time to do it or it just plain didn't work.
Well, it was funny because I made all these flowers to specifically enamel them. And then I had them sitting here and I was like, well, if I'm going to make a hummingbird, it's got to be visiting flowers. And these are sitting on the bench. So they became, and then it was too good to if I screw one of these flowers up, I'm just going to scrap this whole project and I'm too close to the end. I don't got time for this. So I was smart enough to go, no. And actually I did ask a few people, my neighbor and my wife, and they were like, no, it doesn't need anything else. It doesn't need the pop of color and stuff. So.
No, I think it looks pretty cool. Okay. The money question.
Oh, damn.
Would you make more? No, not the how much, but the would you make more?
Well, I did make another hummingbird, so I had to forge at least 3 of them out. The first one was a learning, and I didn't isolate enough material, so I made another hummingbird. So I do intend to make another hummingbird, whether it's a piece that you would put in a garden or in a houseplant, I don't know, but I do have another forged hummingbird. And I think I would make more of those, but it depends on whether that would sell because, again, there's a lot of hand hammering to get a 3/4 inch bar down to, 1/8 inch round sort of material. So maybe... I don't know.
And then maybe? Okay. And then now the other one. How much would you sell it for? Yeah. Again, we all know that attempt number 1, first time you make something, it takes longer than it would after you've done a few of them because, the process gets, better understood, how we go about it. So what is your bookend worth to you? Not necessarily worth to people out there because, that's always the question.
I think a pair of them would be $100, so each one for $50. I think it would be a $50 item.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the flower, I've sold the flowers in the set like I have on this for, $20, $30, and I think the hummingbird is a $20, $30 item itself. Connect it all together. I think it's there.
So $100 pair of bookends. Well,
yeah. What about you?
It'll bookend your pocketbook nicely.
Yeah.
As far as, obviously from my glowing review of the process for me, the chances of me making another bookend, unless someone specifically saw this one and said, oh, hey, can you make me 2 of those? I would do it. However, the actual woodpecker itself, so I kept the pattern for that woodpecker, and I really like the woodpecker. So I could see incorporating that pattern into another build that I was doing. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure the bookend was it for me.
What if you just took that L shape, so it's going underneath the books, and then you were to just do like it was copper, and then you chased out a design on the outside that's holding the books, like you could punch out that way and then put the bend in it. You think it'd be strong enough to hold books, or?
Yeah, it'd probably be. You'd probably want to put a brace of some sort on it. You could. it doesn't excite me to do that,
Mm.
I guess. And again, for me, like, a bookend is something that, like, the actual brace part, you're not seeing a lot of it. It's there has to be, it
Yeah.
has to be at another angle. And again, I did think about putting just like a teed on piece and chasing a pattern out of it, like, but I liked the cutout look. And again, for those, when you see it, I've made it look like there's a cutout heart in the middle of the woodpecker. I like how it looks. It was just the connections, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I'm facing with my material is connecting to for me. For you, it's easy. You can easily weld. That's why I'm trying to get into the brazing. Well, okay, it's not easy to weld, but it is easy. It is easier to say, okay, I need to stick this to this, and I can just put a drop of, I can weld it at this point. Obviously you have to look at size and stuff like that. I got a solder, which works in some instances, absolutely. Or I can rivet, and I got to really start thinking about those earlier on in the process. Yeah, because I think that's my biggest issue here is I made this. This was great. I made this part. This is great. I did not. They were not designed well enough to how are they going to go together. Mm. And that was, I think, my biggest flaw on this, and that's something that my learning curve going forward.
I'm also thinking about the if you have like a tin box or those old tin toys used to have tabs on them that they folded down.
Yep.
So if that's against the book, your woodpecker could have like its feet could go in and tab out this way and even be soldered on the other side, so you wouldn't really necessarily see the solder.
Absolutely, and again, and I agree. And there was part of that thought process. I didn't go that far. I think in the future I probably would, but then the backside doesn't look as nice, and that's also something like. And when you're selling just the bookend, people can see both sides, right? Where some other stuff it's easier to hide. But absolutely, you're right. Having that flipped over tab, or having an area of the woodpecker that can flare out, and then you can actually rivet it on and have that flare out look nice. Like you can do a patterning that way as well. So there are options, and again, I just need to consider those more going forward if I'm doing something like this, which I'm never going to make another bookend. So, yeah.
So we're going to post, the plan is to post this onto our Instagram stories on May the 30th in the morning. So you can follow along at Deer Run Forge, which would be my Instagram channel,
or at Tapley Smith, which is mine.
Would be
or, whoa, wait for it. You can. There's now a Instagram Brothers and Smithing that you can go on, and it will be on there too. So there's 3 spots now.
Are we doing the voting on Brothers and Smithing Instagram too?
I would.
Do you want to?
Assume so. If it's posted there and someone votes. Now, as Brothers and Smithings is brand new, and I think its only followers are you and me, there might not be a lot of voting on Brothers and Smithing.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't? It's like when we're at a market and we do a live vote, it's counted as a voting thing as well. So and then remember, here we go. Here's another historical Brothers and Smithing challenge. When we did the was it the gnome pot? No, it was the pot holder. It was also on Grumpy Owls, who supplied us with the pots, and so we counted their votes too. And I think you won that one, which you shouldn't have.
What?
Mine was so much better. I don't know. Did you win that one or did I win that one? I think you won that one.
I think I won that one.
Yeah, you win all the good ones. I've noticed that the ones I talk about are the ones, like, every time I'm telling anybody, like my friends about this or people I know, they're like, I tell them about, oh yeah, no, I lost that one. Oh yeah, we did this too. Oh no, I lost that too. Yeah, you won that one.
Nice.
It was fairly close.
That yours was a far superior in looks pot holder, but
yours
I think mine fit. Mine was cuter. Yeah,
yours was cuter. You made this cute little owl sitting there, whereas I had this like 4-paneled aquatic theme. I chased. It was actually one of the first times I was really doing some decent chasing. I chased out an octopus, a turtle, a snail, and a shark, a hammerhead shark.
Okay, My problem with that one, honestly, okay, so shark, nailed it. Octopus, super. What was the other one?
Turtle.
A turtle, sweet. And a snail? I was like, okay, so you hit like awesome, wicked, marine creatures in a sea turtle, a shark, an octopus, and then he went snail.
You
Like
are
I was like,
maligning the snail.
it's not on the same It's not on the same level as shark, turtle, and octopus. It's just not. It's in a different class, man. There's some cool snails out there,
Well,
but you should have gone
will
like
grant
sea
you it's
anemone,
not a vertebrate.
snail.
I thought the snail was actually one of the really cool ones. I love the shell patterning I got going on it. Well, apparently somebody doesn't like snails and slugs. Okay, so all you snail and slug lovers out there, vote for Tapley Tinsmith because someone's a naysayer.
Oh.
Slow and steady, man.
Mollusks
Slow
have their place, man. Mollusks, all right. You got anything going on in your shop there? Any issues you want to get off your back in your shop this week?
Issues. Oh, I always have issues. There's plenty of issues. And this is one, and I haven't come up with a good. Maybe someone can help us out. Maybe you have a good idea. I don't know. Scrap.
Oh.
So, because I am working in sheet metal, I'm always cutting out shapes, and you've got scrap. Now, some is just scrap, and I save my copper scrap. We've melted it down a couple times. I want to keep doing that, and then you can do other stuff with it. Again, one of our challenges, the pirate costuming, I used melted down scrap to make a really cool medallion. I won that one, actually. Hey, look, I talked about one that I won. But you get all sorts of different sizes of scrap, and I have one bin, and the problem is some of it sinks to the bottom. It's hard to dig through when you just need a couple small pieces. So, like, I'd like a way, convenient, obviously, way to have my scrap sorted in different sizes so it's easier. Oh, like, okay, I need about this size. Oh, these ones fit into that range, right? Opposed to there's just this big mush. Because, of course, you stick your hand in the bucket of scrap, and now I have, like, 10 cuts on my hand. So, yeah, a scrap organizer.
That's an interesting one.
That's my challenge. Yeah. I don't know.
So
I haven't come up with a way that isn't like, like I don't want, 15 buckets of different size scrap, right? That's not the goal either.
What about nesting buckets? Like if you got like half gallon buckets, like those small ones, right?
Yeah.
And you just nest them inside of each other. So smallest goes down to the, so like you just kind of, it's still going to be a pain. I don't think there's an easy way to do this where it's not a pain because you're going to have to go in and out of multiple container ships.
Yeah. One of the things I was thinking about as I started thinking about this issue is if you had like a deep drawer system that's all flat on top, and then instead of having the top being solid, you have different holes. Like, you go to like a garbage can and it has a recycling hole and a garbage hole and that. And then you have like, okay, I put different sizes, and then you can pull out the bucket underneath to get to this. Again, it can't be too big. That's the other problem, right?
What about the little plastic shelfie thingies that have like, like you see them in like office things where you have like the different drawers?
Yeah, possibly something like that. Again, those are a bit wobbly and they're not great, but yeah, it's something to look into to see what I can do. But because I don't like, I want to use all the scrap I can, right? Obviously. So yes.
What about the big flat drawers, like your map cabinet? You have a big map cabinet that has almost 2x2. If you had just wooden cutouts in there, so in one drawer is all your copper scrap and one drawer is all your brass scrap, and you just have different quadrants of one of those drawers that's all of your different sizes, and then it's going to be somewhat sorted. It's all in one place.
So you're just putting like brass. Maybe like little 1x1 bars going across it. That's actually not a bad idea, because I still have a couple empty drawers that could work out that way. That's actually not too bad of an idea.
You try.
Yeah. Good thought. You? What's your what is it? Shop woes or wonders.
Well,
Woes and wonders.
so
Here we go. This is
woes,
what the
woes,
section is now called. Woes and
you
wonders.
gotta have a name. You gotta have a name for everything. All right. So
come on.
I had
you like my woes and wonders.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. My name is Andrew, and I'm addicted to buying shit on Marketplace.
Turn off Marketplace. That's your solution right there.
No. Okay, and like, all the blacksmith stuff comes up and tongs and everything, and people either want, $50 for a pair of blacksmithing tongs, which is not worth it to me, or they're giving them away basically for free. So I bumped across one who was a collector who was making scrap metal art and everything out of tools, and he was unable to do his craft anymore, so he's getting rid of all of his stuff. So he was selling it all at a very cheap price, and I went to his thing, and he had, I don't know, 15 pairs of tongs, and anytime I can get a pair of tongs for $10 or under, that's worth it to me, because then I don't have to put the time into forging them. Yes, I can forge a pair of tongs, but just the time.
But if I don't have to,
yeah, and then I can just alter them to my use, and I now have another useful pair of tongs, and I don't have to fiddle, because the better fitting the tongs are to me forging, the forging just goes. That's the one thing that I found is, like, the more they fit, it's night and day. It really is. So I found this, got the tongs. They had a bunch of soldering coppers, which you're going to be gifted
yes, I know.
soon.
You bought them for me.
I totally bought them for you.
I have paid a price that I am unaware of so far. Yeah.
That's right.
Looking forward to getting them.
And it came with a whole bunch of other stuff, right? And like, they just want to get rid of everything as opposed to just the stuff that I want. And sometimes you just have to take the wrenches and the oddball stuff. And I have a Rubbermaid out front of my house just full of ball peen hammers and random wrenches and random files and everything. And I've kind of sorted through the stuff that I'm going to use forging, but I'm not a scrap metal artist. I don't want to weld wrenches together to make stuff. I don't, I can, but I don't want to. It doesn't inspire me. So I'm kind of like, I feel like I've already got my price out of the stuff that I have, and I'd like to pass that along to the next person, but I also don't want to just put it out on Marketplace and be like, $1 a wrench. Or so here's my question. This is my woe. I don't want to sell the big lot of it, because I feel like I'm going to be lowballed on the whole thing, but I don't want them to go to scrap metal. I'm okay with somebody forging them or somebody scrap metal arting them and stuff like that. But like, some of them are actually useful tools. Do I list them all together as a lot or smaller lots, or that's just more? How do I appropriately get rid of them?
Yeah, that's tricky, because I think you're right. Like, if you just put them like, I got stuff, come and buy them, it's $1, you're definitely going to get lowballed. And I think lots is not but decent sized lots. Doesn't that make sense? Like, okay, especially if you've got like, okay, these are my wrenches, and again, people who are going to pick this up, you're right, they're doing welding art and stuff like that. That's because no one needs 5 sets of wrenches. We all have at least 2 or 3 sets of wrenches from stuff. Like, anybody I know who is into this kind of field has collected random tools, right? Yeah. So it's people who are looking for artistic stuff and other welding or forging it somehow or whatnot. Like, you've seen those little wrench carumbits and stuff like that. Like, you can do stuff like that. So I would say, decent sized lots of, for this is my lot of 20 wrenches, it's $50 or whatever. Yeah. It's probably the easiest way to do it. Although when I'm coming up, I want to go take a look at your ball peen hammers, see if there's a size I don't have. Because I do like having a variety of sizes of ball peens.
I think they're all that like 16, 18 ounce, like the standard size.
But it's the size of the ball,
right?
For me, well, I got that. Yeah, I've got a couple. Yeah, I know.
I want to isolate that audio right now. Say it again for me. For me, yes, it's the size of the ball.
That are the same size, but But the peen, which is that better,
That's fine.
are different sizes or shapes. Because again, I use it for shaping, opposed to I have a couple ball peen hammers without the handle, just so and I clamp the hammer into a vise, and then I can use the peen as a shaping device. I've done that a number of times actually, because I've got some that are a bit more conical, some that are a bit more spherical. Maybe some
And
ovoid.
I have forged out the peen side of them too to actually be a hot cut tool, and I've forged one out to be a fullering tool. So if you temper the steel back so that it's not hard, you can actually use it as a top tool, which you're putting on your hot work, and then as a blacksmith, you're striking it with a hammer and actually putting either the ball indent in it or like those type of things. So I have done that, which is one of the reasons that I kind of have a bunch of them. If you need one, you can make one, a texturing tool or something like that, a top texturing tool.
And actually, it's one of the things I've discovered. Like with this challenge we just did, I was using one of my older smithing hammers. That this one wasn't my fault, because this one I picked up somewhere. It was it had the two faces that you could smith with, and one was pretty banged up. And I used that, and it just put some nice texture into it.
Yep.
So I'm like, you know what? I could see picking up just regular, even claw hammers, and taking an angle grinder and put some fun texture into, and there's a beautiful, easy to use texturing tool for my sheet metal. Yeah. So,
well, maybe you get to take a couple. There you go. I solved my problem. Kip's taking
there
my.
You go. I'm just gonna take those.
Yep.
Is it Eggels time? Eggels,
yeah,
Eggels,
sure.
Eggels?
It's Eggels. Yeah, you can go Eggels.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. You can tell which of us is excited by the esoteric Eggels and which one goes, oh, you're making me do this again. You're, a schmuck.
Oh, no. I like the idea. I'm just not sure where you're coming from, and it always feels like it's like being a batter in a ball game, and you're like, I have no idea. It's going to be, is this the screwball or is this the curveball? I don't know. It's going to be an odd one.
Strike right down the middle. Okay, this week, a skill that you would like to have that has nothing to do with our metalworking skills, or even like adjacent. So again, one of the things I was thinking is like, I would love to be able to weld. It's a skill that I would love to have, but it definitely plays into our metalwork and stuff like that. So that's not what we're going for this Eggle. It is a skill outside of what we do artistically that you would like to have. And as you asked for me to go first, so you didn't sound like a weirdo, so you wanted to hear mine first. Writing. I would like to be a better writer. I know you have actually made a book and published more than one book, I will say. You are, my hat's off to you. If I had an actual hat on, I'd tip my hat to you. But I'm terrible at it. And I would love to be able to be a better writer. There's a couple of things that'd be fun to be able to write, but I'm just, I am not a wordsmith. I am a metalsmith.
Sure.
So that's the skill I would like. I remember in like high school, like in English class, you had to write stuff. And I remember back then I had a teacher that I don't think he liked me very much, but he said, write what you like. And so I wrote like stuff in like the fantasy vein, because that's what I read at that point. And I would get terrible marks. And then I'm like, well, that's just because you don't like the genre I write. But I think in reality, it's just I sucked. So, but I was a teenager, so I'm like, no, it's not me, it's you.
Clearly. I actually, funny enough, because I have published a couple books. I was thinking I'm horrible at English. I am a historical interpreter by trade, and like I'm great at spoken language and like talking to people and that. But writing is another thing that I totally struggle with it. So I was going to use that, but I'm not, because you already stole it on me. So I'm going to go with... Wait, what was I going to go with?
I don't know, but this is what you did to me last week. See, you went first last week and you stole the tongs idea out of me. So, comeuppance, man. Comeuppance.
Oh, right. I know what it was. Okay, so I also play guitar fairly, like rhythm guitar. I can play a song and sing a song decently enough that people don't run away with their ears covered and shrieking. But I cannot, for some reason, play notes. I can play chords, and strumming is fine for me. But to do like the solo, the like expressional thing, I can come up with it in my head, and I can like whistle it, and I can like feel it, and I know the music, and I know what I want it to sound like. But transferring that to the guitar, it just hasn't clicked for me yet. And I don't know I would love to be able to just sit down and you to play something on the guitar, and for me to just solo and be able to express it music that way in a solo like sort of thing, and it not sound horrible like it sounds like in my head. That would be amazing. And I can't do that. I would have to pre-plan it. So yeah, there you go. Musical expression.
Musical single-noted expression. Yeah.
Yes.
Fair enough. I'm not very good at that myself. I can strum a guitar too, but there you go. Things to work on. You know, I got to catch up to you in books published, and you know.
You only got to be
one of
two.
these podcasts. We'll play a few guitar licks. We'll trade guitar licks back and forth.
Oh wow! We could write our own intro music. We had to go to
you had
somebody else
who's much better than us do that for us.
That is true. That is true. So we're posting this soon, towards the end of the month. This podcast should be out before the 30th, before the our bookends are posted on Instagram. And then next month in June, we are doing fake houseplants. That was the plan. Is that still the plan?
That is still the plan, I think, fake houseplants. Because we've done a pot, like a plant holder, and
That's
we
right.
did a plant gnome, like a little gnome that would go in a plant or whatnot. But we haven't done. Well, we've sort of done the plant. We specifically did a poinsettia. Yet another one that I won. I would just have to say, but this is a bit more open because that was a Christmas themed one. This is just a house plant. I kind of like the idea. Now we said no flowers. This is just sort of greenery. You know,
Greenery
we're thinking.
houseplant.
You know, hostas, other things that are green that have no flowers. Hostas are generally outside. I know. I don't know. Can you have indoor hostas? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess. Don't you bring them inside in the wintertime? I don't know. I'm not a plant guy.
No, me neither. My wife. I take care of all the plants. My wife buys all the plants.
There you go.
But yeah, so greenery. So no flowers. Yeah. We're looking anywhere, you know, house plant range size. So anywhere from 5-6 inches all the way up to 2 feet, depending on how much material you want to be.
And we're going realistic.
Criteria?
We're trying to go realistic on this, right?
Yes, it has to look like it can't be a made-up plant. It has to look like a real plant. At least I personally, I'm going to base it. I've got a couple different plant ideas, but it's going to be looking like an actual plant. It's not like just a made-up leaf thing.
Okay.
So for next, because I think that's a valid. If you're in agreement, that's a valid one. And then on our Brothers in Smithing Instagram page, we can actually have a picture of the real plant beside our fake plant if you want.
Yeah, I don't ever like doing that.
Because you can't get it that close?
No, I'll never get it that close. I have to say, though, this is one that, how you said you weren't excited about bookends? Yeah. I'm not excited about a fake house plant. I'm not chilling. I have no desire to make a fake house plant. I'm very tempted to take a piece of flat bar steel and give it a little bit of wave and a point on the top and be like, there, it's a snake plant.
There you go.
I know, but I just,
Yeah, snake. There's your idea. You can have a snake plant. So
I know.
See, I think I like this one a bit more because I think I was talking about this last time. Every Mother's Day, I promise my wife that I'm making her another metal flower, or I said a metal plant. It doesn't have to be a flower. So if I come up with a good one, well, then this one can be used for next Mother's Day as well. Because this year was an orchid. She enjoyed the orchid.
This year you were almost late, and next year you're going to have one in the bank. Is that what you're saying? You're going to like?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay with that. So yeah, there we go. Metal house plant, non-floral metal house plant. So okay. I like it. You know, I got to get off my keister and do it though, because you know, I haven't been working as hard as I at least in the metal smithing. Just other things have come up in life and gotten busy. The place that I did my training out at Lang Pioneer Village, where I ended up teaching myself to do it while they're getting their new stuff up and running. So I was out doing some training with them, and I've been out there a couple of times this week. So I need to get back into working on stuff. Well, so this will be good.
My shop that I go to at the Morningstar Mill in St. Catharines is actually closing for the summer because they're getting they're getting a whole bunch of renovations and stuff done. So they're fenced off the whole area, not going to be open for summer 2024, and they're not going to open till November. So I had to that's where I do all my heavy forging. So I had to get all my heavy forging done. So actually my last 2 weeks, I went down there a bunch to get all that done for future projects. So my shoulder kind of hurts.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Ooh, do we want to do the teaser? We talked about doing the teaser.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So like I was taking, do you want to tease it a little bit, or do you want me to?
Okay, so we did mention a little bit last time. We have a competition coming up in the fall that has a lot of pieces involved. And so we're working at it slowly over time. Cat out of the bag, it's chess, because we're going to make a chess set. So we figure we'll talk a little bit about the pieces as we make them, because obviously it's not all happening in 1 month. Because if you're doing a full chess set, that is 32 pieces. So that's a lot of work.
Now you're making the full chess set. I've decided to only make my side of the chess set because that's what the original proposition was. So yeah, I'm only making 16. I'm also, for mine, drawing out 1 inch square bar stock into a point by hand. And I got to tell you, man, I got to about 8 of those and I was done.
Yeah, but see, what happens when someone walks up and says, you know what, I want the full chess set of yours. See, if someone comes up to mine, because yeah, you're right. When it's up on the competition, one half the board, I don't know if I'm black or white, will be me, and the other half the board is going to be you. But if someone comes and says, hey, you know what, I love your set, where's the other 16 pieces?
Pay
what you going to do?
Sucka. That's what my answer is going to be. You get to wait a year, and you're going to have to pay up, sucka. Because, yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into them.
There is. So, yeah. See, where's mine? Again, I don't have to draw down any, what did you say, quarter inch?
No, quarter inch. 1 inch.
1 inch. There you go.
Look at this fat square stock right there. Into that. Whoop.
Yes, we're trying not to give away our themes because we each have a different theme for our pieces.
They tell me that's not impressive, though.
Oh, it is. You did a good job. You did a really good job. Yeah. Would you like a little golf clap? Golf clap.
Thanks.
Golf clap.
Thanks. So anyway, because I was doing this heavy stuff, I actually have all of my main pieces forged. Now I just need to make the accoutrement pieces and weld them on. Yeah.
I've gone to French. We are not making a chess set. We are making a jeu d'échecs. Yeah, I know all the pieces in French. You don't. Yeah, no, that's fair. See, my first challenge was making the bases for me, and that was what is my jig setup to make a nice consistent base to get them all set up. So I worked pretty hard on getting those done, especially because I was doing all 16 pawns to get those all set up. So that was good. And again, I was using a dapping tool, which looks like a ball on a stick. If you've never seen a dapping block, I wasn't using the block itself. I was just using, I guess you'd call it the top fuller, and using it into wood. I saw someone use that to actually make the dish, and then you can actually dish your piece of copper and flatten the outside, and it makes a really nice sort of concave base. It worked out quite nicely. But it took me a couple times to get that figured out as to what the actual pattern was. And then I made a whole pile of bases. So I had, my bases done.
Smile. I'm going to take a picture for Instagram. Wait. Let's do a cheers for Instagram. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, wait. Here, let me turn it around. Because my glass has the Tapley Tinsmith logo on it.
We'll get your hand out of the way. Here we go.
My hand's not in the way now. There we go.
Okay, I will actually post that to Brothers and Smithing Instagram.
There we go.
How's that for you?
There you go. Other random skill that I picked up at one point was doing the etching on glass, and I have both a Tapley Tinsmith glass and I have a Deer Run Forge glass. So, all right. Well, yes. I think that was kind of fun tonight.
Yeah,
we good to go?
I think so. Good luck with
may the best bookend win, which
it's clearly mine. No,
clearly
it's mine.
No, it's always mine. The villain will win again. Again, I didn't win last two. No, just the last one. Because two back was the bookmark, and I won that one. So as far as podcasts go, we're tied. All right. Well, until next month,
tiebreaker coming up. We'll see who wins. We'll catch you on the next one on the next month. Good luck, sir.